Imagine this: you're standing on a desolate beach in the Caribbean. The moonlight flickers across the waves. A group of rugged men, sunburned, scarred, and carrying nothing but axes, saws and stolen tools, begin their work. These are not shipwrights, they are not trained builders, they are pirates, and yet, from nothing but raw timber and desperation they would create ships that could outrun, outfight, and outsmart the great navies of the world. But how? How did men with no blueprints, no formal training, and no shipyards manage to craft vessels that became legends of the sea? The answer lies in a mixture of cunning, theft, backbreaking labor, and a relentless hunger for survival. The first step was always timber, not just any wood. Pirates needed massive amounts of the right kind. They didn't wander into a forest and chop down random trees. No, they planned raids on coastal groves under cover of night, while lookouts scanned the horizon for government patrols. Axes bit into ancient oaks. Every strike echoed like a battle drum. If they were caught, it meant prison or the noose. But without wood they were stranded, landlocked wolves starving for prey. And when stealing trees wasn't enough, pirates turned to the black market. In smoky taverns where gold changed hands under the table, corrupt merchants sold them oak, pine, and even exotic teak. These weren't transactions with receipts, these were whispered deals sealed with threats, bribes, and tankards of rum. Each type of wood had a purpose. Oak was the fortress, the unyielding backbone of the hull, able to endure cannon fire and crushing storms. Pine was lighter, perfect for masts that reached into the heavens like spears. And teak, prize only the richest pirates could claim, was stolen from merchant ships and prized for its ability to resist rot in the blistering tropics. But not all timber came fresh from forests. Many pirates preferred a shortcut. They would capture small merchant ships and strip them bare. Imagine it, crew dismantling an entire vessel, beam by beam, transforming it into the skeleton of a new pirate ship. Recycling was not just clever, it was survival. The labor was brutal. Trees had to be felled with two-man saws hauled with carts, dragged by sweat-soaked crews across sand and swamp. And pirates knew the sea punished haste. Fresh wood warped and cracked when it touched salt water. So they seasoned their timber, stacking it in the wind for weeks, even months. Impatient crews who ignored this found themselves sailing leaky coffins, ships that bled water faster than men could pump it out. By the time the keel, the great spine of the ship, was laid, every pirate understood what was at stake. A crooked keel meant disaster, a weak keel meant death. Around this single beam, their dreams, their survival, and their fortune were built. Before we go deeper into how these floating fortresses took shape, let me ask you one thing, my friend. If this glimpse into pirate ingenuity has you hooked, then hit that subscribe button right now. Because just like the pirates passed down their secrets from crew to crew, I'll be passing more hidden chapters of history to you, and trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. Once the keel was set, the real work began. Pirates, who days earlier had been drinking and fighting in port taverns, now bent their backs like craftsmen. They raised frames like ribs of a giant beast. One by one, rough-hewn planks were nailed against them, sealed with tar and pitch stolen from Navy stores. Each strike of the hammer echoed across the shore, each plank carrying the weight of dreams and the threat of betrayal. But not all wood joined willingly. Some warped, some cracked, some refused to fit. The men cursed, bled, and sometimes fought among themselves. Yet through sweat and firelight the skeleton became a body. A pirate ship was not polished like a Navy frigate. It was rough, scarred, patched together by desperation. But where admirals demanded beauty, pirates demanded speed and terror. Rigging came next, and here pirates showed their genius. With stolen hemp and ropes plundered from captured ships, they spun a web of sails and lines. The masts, tall and proud, were cut from straight pines carved to perfection. To an untrained eye the rigging was chaos, a tangle of ropes. But to a pirate captain it was a weapon. With a single shouted order, sails snapped open, catching wind like knives slicing the sea. And then, the arming. Cannons were not bought, they were stolen. Ripped from the decks of merchantmen, dragged through sand, mounted on crude carriages. Some pirates even patched together mismatched guns, firing whatever iron, nails, or stones they could cram into the barrels. It wasn't elegant, it wasn't uniform, but it was terrifying. A ship armed by pirates was like a wolf with jagged teeth, ugly, unpredictable, and deadly. By now what had started as timber and tar became something more. It became a home. A fortress, a hunter. Crews painted fear into its hull, sometimes carving symbols, sometimes raising flags that made enemies' hearts collapse before a single shot was fired. And yet, the ship was not truly alive until it touched water. Launch day was sacred. Imagine dozens of pirates pushing with all their strength, sweat dripping, voices shouting. As the ship creaked forward on greased logs, the ocean waited like a hungry beast. Then splash, wood met wave. For a moment silence, then a cheer that shook the heavens. Their creation floated, their survival was secured. But survival at sea was never guaranteed. These ships born from theft and labor, still faced storms, rot, and cannon fire. Some lasted months before sinking into the abyss. Others, like Blackbeard's Queen Anne's Revenge, rose to near myth, their names whispered in fear across oceans. And here lies the paradox: though pirates built ships from scraps, from stolen timber and desperate hands, they built more than vessels. They built legends. They built nightmares that haunted merchants and empires alike. Ships that should have fallen apart after the first storm instead carved their names into history. So the next time you imagine pirates, don't just think of the battles, the gold, the flags snapping in the wind. Think of the nights under the moon, where men with nothing but axes and ambition forests into floating ghosts. Because in the end, a pirate's true treasure was not always in gold. Sometimes it was the very ship beneath their feet. The beast they built with their own hands. Lanterns flicker, wood creaks, waves crash in the dark, and that, my friend, is how legends are born from nothing. Waves crash softly, lanterns flicker, and the creak of wood fills the silence. But the sea never forgets, and neither do men. When dawn broke, the waters looked calm, almost innocent, yet below that glassy surface lay the weight of every betrayal, every oath broken, every life lost to hunger, to thirst, to greed. The surviving crew huddled on deck, their eyes hollow, their voices quiet. They were not cheering victory, nor mourning defeat, they were waiting. Waiting for the ocean to decide if it would claim them or let them drift on into another day of torment. One pirate whispered, "The sea takes its toll, always." Another spat on the deck, cursing the names of those who betrayed them. Yet, deep down, each man knew, he too was guilty of something. Guilty of silence. Guilty of watching. Guilty of surviving when others had not. Hey, the wind moans through the rigging. Legends tell of cursed ship, where the sins of the crew become a weight heavier than any anchor. Some swore that on nights like these, the faces of the dead appeared in the waves. Pale, flickering, whispering, and as the men gazed into the black water, some claimed to see eyes staring back. Eyes of those they'd abandoned. Eyes of those who would never forgive. Still, the ship drifted. Still, the men endured, because to a pirate survival was not glory, it was punishment, and perhaps that was the cruelest truth of all. A lantern's fade, heartbeat slows. The tale ends where it began, with silence on the sea. No storm, no cannon fire, just the endless sound of water against wood, and the faint echo of voices long gone. Because in the world of pirates, treasures rot, loyalties break, legends twist into curses, but the ocean remembers everything, her final beat of silence.